The crew of the San Nick have had a rough morning's hunt. Wind, swell and poor quality sea urchins have forced them to abandon the area and travel to a whole new inlet. The weather's still not great, but the urchin quality is way better. Now it's just a race against the clock before the tide turns.
I think there should be enough around here as long as we have enough time, like we're pretty limited in daylight and winter hours.
We hit the jackpot actually. Always found some really fat urchins, good colour, good size, but running out of daylight, so we had to put the hard yards in and make sure we stayed in there as long as we could to fill the load.
Team George is venturing out for the first time today. Now Dwayne's confident they're hitting a good area. And despite the strong currents, he too is able to bag a catch quickly. George's dinghy boy skills are improving. He's deploying and collecting bags like a pro. Nothing like a morning off and a time limit to get you amped up and working hard. Down on the seabed, Dwayne's hard at it as well, pleased with both the size and the quality of the urchins he's collecting.
The urchins here are fat and juicy and good colour.
On the surface, there's still a battle with the wind, and the clouds over the hill suggest rain is on its way. Team Red Dog are on a roll, with both Storm and Raymond filling bags almost quicker than Red Dog can handle. The sea urchin row is looking fantastic, and before long, a crowd gathers in the hope for a taste. Back at the San Nick, George and Dwayne unload their first run for the day. Despite having endured poor conditions during the dive, they're in good spirits.
Better urchin quality today, I suppose. Seemed to be consistently better colour and much better than yesterday. Had a 7-giller give me arseholes before, but showed him his boss.
Across the other side of the bay, Storm and Raymond are showing no signs of slowing down. And the dough labs are almost full, which means Red Dog will need to return to the San Nick to unload.
Yeah, right, I'll come give this back to you.
He decides to make the most of a good situation.
Good, man. They're real good. Need to kill them 2 times, just let them go by myself. Leave these rats in the water.
They'll keep hunting while Red Dog's away, and at this rate should have another full dough lab's worth of premium spiky gold by the time he returns. And there's a good reason to hurry.
Run out of time, we got to leave here by 4 o'clock to catch the tide, alright? So yeah, on the time limit now. Not fast enough sometimes, eh? That's nice, that's real good. No time for lunch, bro. This is my lunch here.
Urchins are fat as. We're just on the time limit. We've got to be out of here by 4 o'clock. So I'm just going as hard as I can. Can't even unload by myself, don't mind doing it. As long as they're still catching me urchins while I'm doing it. Sweet ass. This is all good.
With the wind and currents increasing, Raymond and Storm are flat out collecting as many good urchins as they can manage. The quality's not dropping and the visibility's still okay, so the boys don't let up in their collection. Soon enough, the dough labs are full again and it's time to head back to the San Nick for a hard-earned rest.
We've been waiting for this moment all day, and finally, we've got it. Yeah, bloody awesome sea urchins, mate.
We started off real. Then we come around the corner into this next bay and really good. We're just backwards and forwards for about 2-3 hours non-stop, eh? And I'm feeling a bit it now, but money is awesome. Loving it.
Unfortunately, it's not quite bedtime yet. they've only just realised that more urchins are required than first thought.
Well, I thought that was my last one. Come back, unloaded it. Real bloody cold, but boss man has told me I must go out and catch the last bin of the day. It's 3 o'clock, we've got an hour to go. It's not negotiable really, so I'm bloody into it.
We're close to filling the boat and hitting our target for this trip. Always just got to keep going hard where they are. But the sooner we get the load in, the sooner we can get going. Hopefully we can catch that tide that's heading in, which will just make it a much easier trip home.
And it's much easier collecting the sea urchins when you know where the fat ones are. Racing against the clock, Team Red Dogs soon have enough quality product to return back to base. But this time, it's not just urchins they've brought back with them.
When I was raking in the urchins, I come across these nice big abalone, Blackfoot, yeah, Haliotis they're called. Yeah, they're pretty big size.
Which reminds Dwayne of a promise he made to his sister, who's getting married this weekend.
It's not every day your sister gets married, so I'm on fishing duties, supplying the seafood.
But being the skipper has its perks, and one of those is the power of delegation.
Nobody wants to be out in these sort of conditions at the end of the day after a hard day's diving, so Storm and George have drawn the short straw, unfortunately.
Yeah, so we just finished our day urchin diving and yeah, it's been pretty awful really, but we're off to go get some crayfish and some paua for Dwayne's sister's wedding. So we'll shoot over the other side and hopefully we'll get some.
One last push is all they need. But with the weather continuing to deteriorate, Storm's about to find out just how powerful the sea can be. After a long day's grind diving for sea urchins in the stormy oceans of the deep south, Dwayne has given each team one more task before day's end.
Real bloody cold, but boss man has told me I must go out and catch the last bin of the day. It's 3 o'clock, we've got an hour to go. It's not negotiable really, so I'm bloody into it.
Yeah, it's been pretty awful really, but we're off to go get some crayfish and some paua for Dwayne's sister's wedding.
Nobody wants to be out in these sort of conditions at the end of the day after a hard day's diving, but I promised my sister a decent spread at her wedding, so Storm and George have drawn the short straw, unfortunately.
The rugged shorelines are ideal for abalone, found in between rocks and in crevices, sheltering from predators, tides and bad weather. They have to be longer than 125 millimetres by law before harvest, and the rough conditions are making both the measurement and the collection near impossible. Storm is thrown around between the rocks, fighting hard to stay the right way up. Suddenly, a huge wave hits, catching Storm off guard, sending him tumbling out of control over the rocks and back into the ocean.
The story just came out of nowhere, eh? Like it was just this freak wave. I got flung into a rock and it ripped the mask clean off my face.
Without his mask, it's game over, and they have to return with what they have.
A cubic metre of water weighs a tonne. If that's going to land on you, you're going to know about it. It's probably quite lucky to come out of there without any injuries.
Storm may not have any injuries, but him and our cameraman do have a story to share with the crew.
Storm lost his mask and snorkel that he's had for his diving career, so he's a bit upset about that. It just came out of nowhere, man. Just got funneled over in this tiny little gap. You know?
Oh, were you in that gateway? I told you there's a few in there, eh?
There is.
Yeah.
And like by now the water just disappeared. Oh, I was like gnarly.
So the hunt for crayfish is abandoned, but Dwayne's sister will still get half of her wedding gift.
Yeah, we've just got a few small wee abalone, like they're still legal size, but yeah, the gut that we were diving in took my mask as well. I've had that mask for so long, and like now I have to get a new one, and it's always annoying having a new mask.
While Storm's more concerned about his precious diving gear, Red Dog's finishing stacking the hold, aware of the turning tide and deteriorating weather.
Glad it's done. We've had about 4 odd different showers of rain come in. Windy all day, rain, sun, but hey, that's a day of fueling for you.
The whipping breeze doesn't make packing up any easier.
pretty happy with the result considering the start of the day and yesterday. So fat urchins and good trip ahead home. It's going to be rough.
The boys get everything tied down securely for the trip and then settle in for a well-deserved break.
Oh, that's a bit rolly once I hand the drinks out there, everyone. That's problem with mine. That's all good. He's gone. You ready to do it?
Hey.
As they steam out of Preservation Inlet, the tallies for the teams are in. Storm and Raymond managed to collect 15 dough labs of high-quality urchins, earning them a total of $2,800. Team Dwayne wasn't far behind, with 12 dough labs making him $2,200 for the 2 days. Not a bad recovery considering the rocky start, and it's sufficient to fill the week's orders and have enough left over to sell tomorrow at the famous Bluff Oyster Festival. It's 4:30 a.m. when the Sand Nick returns to Bluff, and it's all hands on deck to get the sea urchins unloaded straight away in order to get them to the factory for processing. As soon as they are inside the processing plant, the sea urchins are stacked in trays and cracked open. Next, the insides are removed by hand and the urchin roe is separated. After cleaning, draining and quality checks, the best of the urchin roe is packaged and weighed. Salt water is added to keep the urchin roe fresh, and then the pottles are dropped into an ice bath until the optimum temperature for transport is reached. The containers are then dated and packed into insulated boxes for immediate delivery. They leave the factory mid-morning, bound for destinations all around the world. Only 4 hours later, and Bluff is...
No, it hasn't forgotten. It's just got to cook.
Dwayne hasn't slept yet, and now he's in charge of the hot chips.
So we're at the Oyster Festival today. We've just got back in from diving. We've got the urchins out the front. Today's actually about the bluff oysters that live out in the strait, but we want to try and teach everyone about the urchins as well and try and promote the product.
Thousands of tourists flock to the tiny town to sample the variety of seafood New Zealand's deep south has to offer.
So that's just your normal box. We've got, I don't know, upwards of 10 to 15,000 people here. Pretty big day for a town of 3,000 or 4,000. But yeah, they're coming. But yeah, so no, it's an exciting day. We've got a good team.
Spiky Gold Hunters. A 36-hour mission sees the teams at full throttle from the get-go.
Your biggest try today.
With competition fierce.
We actually real need to get into it because they're real greedy, man.
Time to get home now. Just need another one.
The title for Diver Supreme is up for grabs.